Civilization. Knowledge is the basis of civilization. Okay? When it rises, the knowledge rises. When it stagnates, and when it declines, it declines. Okay? So the backbone of civilization is knowledge. So we need to know what happens when knowledge is going through that cycle. Okay, first, if you can look at a few people actually write about civilization, and on the Islamic perspective, you can say Abu Alab al-Maududi, right? And then Said Qutb, Muhammad Abdu, Ibn Khaldun, right? These are the people that write. Then after he became a Muslim themselves. They have been trained, they have been educated, okay? Why? To defend themselves and to spread the ideas of Shiism. That is why they set up the first en masse school within the Islamic Empire. Within. Okay? Before this, there was no schools. The mothers are the teachers, right? And there are some of the ulama, they sent to prominent ulama to learn talaki one-to-one with them. That's what Imam Ghazali, that's what Imam Shafi'i, they know their teachers and sebagainya. Sekarang we don't even remember our maths teacher. I know you do. Yes.
I forgot my question.
Oh, you forgot the question then, okay.
So, who are they aping in setting up en masse education?
No, they're not aping anyone. They are at the zenith of their civilization, the Fatimid Empire. Right? But they need to actually what? They need to, of course, they were minority. Right? They were only in a small, okay, the Islamic Empire, you can see the Ottomanic Empire started from the 14th century all the way to the 20th century now. Lama. Okay? It was a vast area that they took, but they lost one by one. Lost. So the Fatimid Empire actually were in the competition with the Sunni Empire, actually, the Shia Empire. And Fatimid at that period of time, they were very strong there. So they set up the first university, the first advanced education in the middle of the whole of the Islamic Empire. Because why? They need to spread out their ideas. They want to expand perpetuate their ideas. Yes. And the Shia is very, very good at this. Okay?
So was the Muslim the first to set up university?
Yes. That's when Nizam al-Mulk, which was the Khalifa of that time, set up schools to counter the Shia influence. That was why the first madrasas were set up. It is such an unfortunate starting of a narrative. It's political. That's why they don't mind about education. They don't talk about talaki. They don't talk about the student and the sheikh. They don't talk about adab. They talk about mass education. Ideas. Response to the what? Shiites, which are setting up universities and schools. And mass education, they are spreading their ideas not from one-to-one mutawatir. That was the original way that knowledge was transmitted in Islam. Right? And they're still, I remember, even our friend pun yang now doing his PhD in the UK, Ustaz Mazli, he did that. Dia panggil by apa? Talaki atau apa? The book which was written by a sheikh, he learns with the sheikh, page to page, and dia ditauliahkan. Then he can only teach after that to his students. Before that, tak boleh.
It was like that.
It was like that. That's why I said. Right? Okay, Nizam al-Mulk, right? And that's when the education and mass education started. So you can imagine what was intention was and how, because due to the intention, due to the objective of what mass education is, that's what it has become. We have created what? Numbers. Quantity but no quality. That's why the Prophet says at the end of time, the Sahabat, he told the Sahabat that the Muslims will be pulled from all directions. Macam orang tengah makan pidang, everybody ambil, tarik sana, tarik sini dan sebagainya. Then the Sahabat said, why are they weak? He says, no, in fact there are many. Sahabat itu peranjat. Can you imagine kalau Sahabat Abu Bakar, As-Siddiq, Umar around them, kalau ramai ada 3, 4 or 10 or 40 of Umar, mana can be such a thing kan? Right? But the Prophet said they are like what? Froth. Okay? Dia macam apa? Buih di lautan. And of course in that hadith, it was based on the smelting of iron actually. The impurity kan? The froth. Okay. Nizam, okay? Then that's why very small during about the same period.
So that was the Nizam al-Mulk.
Nizam al-Mulk, yes. That's where the madrasas came out. Yes. Oh yes, of course, of course. The Renaissance was only in the what? In the 15th century. They were in the Dark Ages. They were in the dark. And historians wrote books and says that while Cordova were cobbled, matted, and lights were lit, Europe was muddy and dark. Okay? So they were in the Dark Ages. Right?
The question was, were there no schools? Were there schools in other parts of the world at that time?
No. They were barbarians. They were killing each other.
Illiterates.
Illiterates. Most of them, many of them were illiterates.
But that was during the serfdom and all that.
Serfdom, that's right. They are ruled by lords. Usually the lords are the one who can read and write. That's it. The rest, dengan harap dia ajar. They know kalau dia ajar, habislah dia. Right? So they stupefy them. Okay? Right. Okay? Then what happened? Okay, unfortunately, due to this political punya upheaval, a fallout between the Sunni and the Shia, so what they do? The Muslims retreated. The Muslims were. So that's why Sufism come in. They don't want to do anything with this world. Don't nampak between Muslim bergaduh. At that period of time, it's something strange. The Muslims were at the peak of their so-called material civilization now. Right? So when they see these things, what do? They retreat. And that's where Sufism comes in. And they talk about the Malaikat, they talk about the heavens, and they draw wings on the Malaikat, things like that. Okay, and then they wirid, and then they twirl and wirid, they think about Allah. That's it. Okay, that's where Sufism came in. Sufism is a Khalaf phenomenon. It's not Salaf phenomenon. Khalaf. Right? Okay, and after that, the retreat came even worse. They did secularization themselves. That's why they set up the Quranic schools. And they separated the worldly things from the study of Islam. Like Nashat. Okay? So they go to Quranic schools saja. So you think about Darul Quran. Macam mana? Okay. So is it okay lah? Alright? I'll ask you the same question here on this talk. Okay, the Quranic schools. Unity is of the essence here. Unfortunately, this all split up. You can see how education, the polemics of education, is it polemics? Polemics of education, right? Deals with the very heart of the Islamic civilization of unity. Unity of thought, unity of action. Dia pecah belahkan kita because of the education system. Right? Okay, quickly. Period of European Renaissance, when the Renaissance came, Raffles came to Singapore, and what? The British, they are experts in terms of implementing a cultural policy. Includes what? Education system. Okay, the Dutch adopted a different policy. British adopted a cultural policy. Culture. It changes the indigenous people. And the first thing that they do is what? They hold on to the education system. That's where the vernacular schools come about. That's where the Islamic school come about. Okay, Islamic school bukan Islam saja. You don't know about science, maths and all that. Then what lead you to the vernacular school, okay? You want to come to our school. That's when the St. Joseph, anybody here? St. Patrick's? St. Nicholas? St. Teresa's Convent? Okay, so those are the schools.